What's up, everybody? We're doing a little different today.
Yes.
It's your girl, iamMichelleRena from iamMichelleRena.com.
Yes.
Woo!
I love it.
And I've got my friend, the dope, the amazing, and I can't it's exponential amazing, Miss Krystal Jackson with me today. Welcome, Krystal.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Likewise, I'm so glad that you don't have like a super laid back schedule. You're busy. You got stuff going on all the time, and people don't realize that when you're creative, like as a creative, your mind is constantly going in this space. So while people may think that you're chilling or not doing much, like you're working, like you're actually powering through trying to, foster the creativity that you have and so many other things. So first, what you just heard, everybody, was a snippet of one of my favorite songs, which is called Dynasty. And when I tell you, my girls and I, the Glitter Gang and I, that song and Natural High, listen, that's a whole vibe in our house.
Thank you.
You want to see us go crazy?
Oh, I love that.
We absolutely love it. So first of all, I want everybody to get introduced to who you are. So I want you to introduce yourself and then tell us a little bit about where you're from, how this Black girl magic has just grown and birthed itself through you, and then bring us to where you are as an artist.
Okay, so my name is Krystal Jackson. My artist name is Lighkt, which is spelled Lighkt. A lot of people have been like, why is there a K? Is it still pronounced light if there's a K in it?
Yes, is it like it?
Right.
You're like, what?
Like it? That's me. But the K is in there, but it's silent, and the K is for Krystal, obviously. And interesting enough, my artist name came because my first name, I was asking my mom about my name years ago and why she named me Krystal Diana Jackson. Like, why Krystal Diana? Like,
right.
Why? And Krystal actually means transparent reflection of light. Diana means light, specifically in dark places. And so it's really interesting because my mom, it was just this constant, that's just the name that I answered to, was light in my own way. But when the drink Krystal Light came out, my grandmother always called me Light because of the drink. So when I would hear Light, I would answer because I knew she was talking to me. And just to answer to Krystal most of my life, not realizing that was Light as well. It's just, so yeah, it made it easy because I was like, I don't want everybody to feel like people I don't know, I don't want feeling like, oh, I know you're on an intimate level, so let me call you Krystal. Because, it's intimate.
Right.
Like, if you call me Light, it still feels familiar enough for me to answer to it. So
absolutely.
That's the background of my artist name. But I am from the Mug. I honestly have an identity crisis when it comes to the Mug because I was sleeping in Pahokee. I went to school in Belglade, but was basically raised in South Bay. And my parents had a nonprofit there called Street Beat. And so, and they also had a church there. And so I was all three places the same amount of time every day. So
you're truly a product of the Muck then, like in the most authentic way.
Yes, honestly, truly. So the Muck is home for me. Sometimes I say I'm from Belgrade. Sometimes I say I'm from South Bay. Sometimes I say I'm from Pahokee. Depends on the day. But yeah, so artistry for me, I think, was birthed when I was young and I was just surrounded by music and creativity. Both of my parents were involved with music. My dad is a trumpet player and singer. He has a beautiful voice. I think even when I was younger, I was familiar with the sound of my parents' voices. So I was just like, yeah, it's just dad singing again, or my mom just singing again. But it was like, as I got older, I was like, dang, y'all actually sound really good.
Like, y'all sing.
Yeah, sing. Wait a minute. I didn't know this. But yeah, so my parents, even how my parents met, they were both performing artists at a jazz I don't know if it was a jazz concert or something like that. So they met through the love of music. And so our house every day, constantly, we had music playing, and sometimes we would wake up to my dad playing the trumpet or go to sleep to my dad playing the trumpet, and my mom sang us to sleep. And so artistry was just embedded in us. And when I was 3 years old, they founded Street Beat. And Street Beat was, I think, one of the most brilliant things that I've ever seen in my life. And once again, like I said, certain things you don't realize until you get older and you step back, and it's like, wow, you see the impact that it has on the community and children and just adults, and giving children an opportunity to see that success doesn't just have to look like sports and
Right.
athleticism, but you also can create by way of music or dance. And so we were surrounded, me and my brothers were surrounded by dance and music from before I could speak. And I did a lot of background vocals. That was my comfort zone for a while. I did a lot of background vocals at my parents' church. And then I went to FAMU, and while I was there, me and my brother did some worship stuff for an on-campus ministry there. And we just created this space it was honestly so beautiful, so sweet at that time, where we just came together through music, and we would do sets every week, once a week. And I was there, and I was just like, I think too with music, I didn't learn how to value my voice because of comparison, and because of the idea of like, would my voice be good enough? Because like, do I sound like what a Black woman sounds like? Because for me, I'm like, I don't sound like Tamala Man, or I don't sound like Fantasia. I don't sound like these Kim Burrell and
artists. Yes.
yes, it was like my idea of what a Black female vocalist was not me. It wasn't my sound. It wasn't what I had to offer. It was just like these big powerhouse voices that are definitely reflections of Black women, but even voices like Aaliyah. That's a sound that isn't Fantasia, but she is just as recognized and appreciated and valued for her sound as she was and as she is. And so when I moved to California, I went on an audition to do background vocals. And while I was auditioning, they stopped me in the middle of my audition, and the lady was like, what are you doing? I was like, singing.
Just, a little bit of
maybe singing. So she was like, no, what are you doing? Because you're trying to do background vocals, and we can't pay attention to the lead vocal because you sound fantastic. And I was like,
hair flip.
Me?
Listen, when I tell you, like, I've heard on the Selah Sessions album, like, before I read the credits and knew it was you singing, I knew it was you singing.
Really?
Like, when I was like, that is Miss Jackson.
Really?
And we kept listening. I was like, that's gotta be her. And so then I went and I pulled up the credits. I was like, I knew it. You have this distinctness about your voice that it does, like, you are a powerhouse in your own right.
Thank you.
And that's amazing.
Yeah, because I think to be honest with you, for me, a dream job for me was to do background vocals, and I still would love to do background vocals because I think that there's an art to it. Absolutely. When you can master blending with someone else's voice and whether it's their vibrato or their tone or whatever, I think that is phenomenal. I love that. And so for me, I was just, and then also it's less pressure, less attention. And I've always been the type of person that's like, y'all be up there, I'll be back here, and I'll make the stuff work in the background. But when that happened, it was honestly an awakening for me because I realized that I have to stop comparing myself, but I also have to stop thinking low of myself because my mindset was just like, oh, somebody better would do it. Somebody who's more talented would do it. Somebody who's more gifted would do it. And I just would always take myself out of the picture. But when she said that, she was like, yeah, no, we actually have lead vocal auditions tomorrow. So we want you to come here tomorrow and do that. And I was like, wow. So I got home. I remember I called my dad and my mom. Me and David were living in California, my brother. And I called them and my mom was like, see, I told you. So I'm like, okay, well, we'll see. So the next day, you sing, so you know.
Yes.
You know, you have a moment, you had this moment where you like, I know I sound good and I know I just killed that.
Yep.
That was that audition. That audition, I was like, I actually can sing, and to God be the glory.
There we go.
But I knew in that moment, I was like, I actually can do this. I actually can do this. And so I had my own team, so I had to lead for that year. I was doing sets once a week, well, actually twice a week. And I was doing one during the morning, afternoon, and then I would do one like spontaneous worship set at night. And then that opened the door to be on several albums with both gospel and CCM, doing background vocals as well. And it's been an amazing journey. But in that, all of that to say, before I had written and recorded the two songs, Natural High and Dynasty, I went to Jamaica, which is where my mom is from. And while I was there, I was just like, I don't know why every time I go, well, I do know why. I went to Jamaica. I was on a tour singing in Jamaica back in, I think it was 2012. And the appreciation that people had even there for my voice made me realize that I could sing. I just needed that affirmation for some reason. I didn't think I needed it, but when I saw that people actually valued my voice, it helped me see that my voice was valuable. And I was there, and I was like, when I went back, this was 2019 or 18. But when I went back to Jamaica, it was my first time going after my mom had passed away. And I was on a bus, and I was just sitting there, and I was just thinking about my mom, and I was like, I felt this heavy like conviction, and I was like, I have to make music. I have to do it. Like, if it doesn't turn out successful, huge, whatever, that's fine. But I need to actually do that. If not for myself, for my mom.
Absolutely.
And I was sitting with my mom's mom in Jamaica, and her sisters and some of my cousins. I had met them for the first time, and I was just watching them, and that was where Natural High was birthed. A lot of people thought that I was talking about my husband, but I was really just staring at these beautiful Black women that birthed me and that are part of my DNA and my makeup. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, that's why it's like, man, when I close my eyes and I think about their smile, I feel them like a breeze blowing through the trees. We ascend like the fire. All of these things, and I'm like, you got me on the natural high. All of these lyrics literally just came from just watching them. And for me, I'm writing moment. Yeah, I'm writing it like a poem, and I'm like, actually, this is a whole tune, a big tune. And so I came back home after that trip, and my brother had been recording music with some of his friends in LA. And I was like, ask them if they got some time next month where I could come in. And they were like, oh, we could schedule something maybe in September. And this was the beginning of August at the time. And I just felt in myself like, no, you need to do this before your birthday. And my birthday is August 30th.
Yes.
And so I was like, look, I don't know if y'all can make this happen, but I just really feel this conviction that I need to do this before I bring in another year. They were like, you know what? We'll make it happen. So they literally took out everybody that was scheduled for that week to record in Los Angeles. They were like, we'll just move them. We'll tell them that something came up, and the whole week is yours. And so in that 1 week, that's when I recorded Natural High and Dynasty, actually. And Dynasty took, I believe, 2 days.
Wow.
because my first song was Natural High, which it literally just started with a click track. I was like, this is the tempo that I want. And then from there, I just started thinking of like horn lines because, you know, we grew up around marching bands and my dad, the band director. So the first thing that came for Natural High was boom, 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 dun, 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 dun. And I was like, oh, yes. And then from there, it was just, I was listening to it and I'm like, I feel something about high. I'm like, natural high. I hear natural high. Let me just build around that. So that song took about 4 days to record and from start to finish. And it was honestly, it felt like a breakthrough for me because I had to come through so many moments with myself of like, do you like this? Yes or no. Communicate that. Is this something that feels like you? Yes or no. Communicate that. All of those things, because with recording music, recording a song, that's like your baby. You know?
It is. Absolutely.
And you want to make sure, like, look, don't be just doing any and everything with my baby. Like, take care of this baby because, you know. So, yes, that was the birth of Natural High. And Dynasty was also, I think for me, my desire is to always make love songs for Black people. Like when I write, I think about my love for Black men and Black women and Black children and just the Black person. Like I always think about us and I'm like I am honestly so in love with Black people and Black culture.
I'm right there with you.
I honestly,
I love us.
I do too. I do too. And it's just like when you write from that perspective, like it's just you have endless content.
You do. You do.
There's so many, we're so multifaceted and just I love us.
I love us. And but you know what? I can tell you that your music feels like a hug from a Black woman.
Oh yes, I love that.
And you know what a hug from a Black woman is like, right?
Yes.
So it engulfs you. Yes. It's warm. It's everything you need. And literally when those songs dropped, I was like, when you did the teaser, I was like, oh my goodness, this is about to be something. And as soon as it dropped, like I went to the platforms, I downloaded it and I was like, oh, and I think I might have messaged you and was like, you have got something on your hand.
Yes.
Like, oh my gosh, sis, you killed this.
Yeah.
It's truly like one of those experiences where when I was listening to it, I went and woke the girls up. I was like, you guys got to hear this. It kind of looked like, but then I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then I didn't tell my husband who it was. I just playing it on the speakers downstairs, right?
Yeah.
He came down, he's like, you had this on repeat all morning. I was like, you know, it's something like that. I said, it's a vibe. I said, it's just a vibe. Just listen. It's like, I like that. Who had? I said, that's Miss Jackson. And I have to give a backstory for why I call her Miss Jackson. So she is Miss Jackson to me because she was one of the dance instructors for my girls at their dance studio. And so I'm a big person on modeling respect for adults. And so even though she's a very, very young and youthful woman, it's understood that that's Miss Jackson to you, right?
Yes.
So in order for me to model that for the kids, I make sure I say, that's Miss Jackson, right? And so it just stuck. I'm like, nah, that's Miss Jackson right there. Yeah. When I tell you the music that you have created, and not just that, but the presence that you create and people who have the pleasure of encountering you actually in person, you have such a calming and you got a vibe about you that is just so dope and so deep that it makes a person want to be able to exude that kind of light and love. You are truly a light.
Thank you.
Your name personifies exactly who you are. And it makes you say like, oh yeah, I wanna see what she's about. I wanna know her. I wanna explore and ask questions. I want to see what knowledge she has. I want to pick her brain. That's the vibe you give off. It's like, I know you got something deep pouring in there. No. So I think that's amazing
Thank you.
because it really gives you this feeling of like comfort. And
Thank you.
that's amazing.
Yes.
For me, I look at what you've created in what feels like such a short time. Like I know that it's taken years to get here, but even with knowing that you went in a week and were able to drop these pieces on us, the question is, do we get more of that? Are we gonna get some more? Like, are you gonna leave us bated breath?
No, I would not do that. That's the thing is my desire was to drop an EP this summer.
Yes.
I did all of that timeline to be like, okay, then I'm gonna have a full body of work by summer. But of course,
yes, that Roro has really showed out on us, babe.
Show out, did a whole, just showed out.
Yes.
So I wasn't even able to travel because the studio that I work with, they still haven't opened back up to start recording. So that's been the thing that's the why there hasn't been any more content. But my desire is to put out more and create more because there's more in me. And then especially with even the climate of our country and what's been happening with our country and with Black people as a whole right now, I think that we need content. Like even with Black is King, that was such a gift to Black people, to Black children especially. And so when I think of that, I'm like, it gives me peace because I'm like, see, Beyonce has the means to make it happen, so she made it happen, you know? But yeah, there's more to come. I wish I knew when, but I'm hoping before the year ends, at least a single before the year ends.
Right. Well, just know that you have like a fan base that truly loves your work. And when I tell you, every person I've shared those songs with or let them hear it, they're like, where can I get more of this? I'm like, listen, you don't have to worry. As soon as we get more, it's coming at you. You do not have to worry.
Yes.
Like it's going to come at you. I want you to, because you're such a creative, like everything from your fashion and your style to your ability to put words together, the music to dance, you are truly a body of creativity. What do you think are some ways that you, or tips maybe that you can give to others who feel like they have that creative burning inside of them but are not quite sure of how to help it manifest? What are some tips or what are some ways that you feel like we can foster, recognize our own magic and really just foster that creativity?
I think that recognizing your own magic starts with recognizing yourself and sitting with yourself and facing yourself. And learning yourself, because like I said, I think one of the biggest killers of creativity is comparison.
Oh yes.
And it'll have you stagnant, or it'll have you feeling like you're incapable, and just it creates this thing that will literally cause you to not create, not bother trying, not bother, or when you do try, you'll try and do what someone else is doing as opposed to staying true to yourself.
Guilty.
So yeah. And that's my thing too. And I've always been someone who's a perfectionist. I like stuff to get done the way that I want to do it. I want it to look a specific way. I want it to sound a specific way. I want it to be perceived as a specific way. All of these things. And so what happens is you focus more on perfecting whatever it is you're doing as opposed to living and learning. And so I think for me, what I would say to the creative and to people who just have something, whether it has to do with music, fashion, art, a business, whatever the case may be, learn about yourself and master your craft in a way that isn't in comparison to what someone else is doing.
Absolutely.
Because you have something that nobody else in the world has. And it sounds so cliche, but it's so real.
It's true.
And it's so true. And what you obtain, what it is that you carry, cannot be compared to anyone else because only you can extend it to the world. And one of the ways that I explain it, even with just teaching before, is like we all have perspective and we all have an outlook on life and on the world that is so particular to the individual. Like if I were to tell you, tell me what you see when you look at this, right? Look at this screen. You'll see me and you'll probably say, oh, I see these 3 square green things. Whereas Kai could look at it and be like, oh, I see Miss Jackson's glasses. Or somebody else could see it and be like, oh, I see the wooden chair and I see one peeking on the side. And so everybody has this perspective that is very real, that is very true, but only you can extend what it is that you see and what you have and what's in you. Whereas somebody else, they could be doing the same thing, looking at the same picture, but they'll be extending something that is totally different from the same picture. You know what I mean?
That
So,
is, you just spoke so much volume, and then you also revealed me. Like I
yeah.
feel seen. I feel seen because that is such a big piece. Like know yourself and be ready to provide that perspective that only you have.
Exactly.
That is so dope. For our viewers, our readers, our watchers, everybody, we know that we're going to have something to come eventually with hopefully a full EP. But in the meantime, like
Yes.
I'm privy to get little snippets of songs that you do in your Instagram stories or your Facebook stories. So tell people how they can reach you.
So I have so many social media platforms right now that it annoys me because I am so particular with who I follow. I don't like following just everybody, you know. So I get it. Yeah, listen, I get it. If you want to just scroll through my page, that's fine. My Facebook is straightforward. It's Krystal Jackson, Krystal with the K. And my Instagram, my personal Instagram is the Queen _ Krys with a K, Krys. And I actually write a blog too. I do daily quotes.
Yes.
And that's on Instagram as well. If you like to read and get some inspiration every now and then, that is _ Krys Quotes.
And Krys Quotes is dope, for real.
Thank you very much. And then my music page is at Lighkt, so Lighkt.
Perfect.
So anytime that I'm releasing music or music videos, I usually upload it on my music page.
Definitely. Is there anything else that you want people to know about you or your brand and what it is that you represent, or anything? We already know, like I didn't even have to ask certain questions because you already spoke to the love for the culture and just the love that you have for Black women, men, and children. So is there anything else that you would want us to know that we absolutely could not close this out without people knowing?
This is a good question. I would say that one thing, a major part of how I function and how I create, that you mentioned previously, is that my heart is for us. Like it's not just I don't know. It's not a passing thought. It's a constant thought. I constantly create with us in mind, and I constantly everything that I do is centered around us as a people. And I think that for me, understanding that when you follow any of my content, whether it's music or my blogs or just my social media, one thing that you will be in for every time is me talking about social activism and the importance of just being aware of what's going on in our nation and what's going on with our people, whether it's the education system, whether it's marches that are going on in our country, or local marches or whatever. That's something that I really value. That's something that I have a high reverence for. And I just want to see our people succeed. I want to see us do great. I want to see us be great. And so that's my biggest thing is like understanding, like if you choose to follow me on anything, if you have a passion for music, it's a great follow. If you have a passion for fashion, it's a great follow. If you have a passion for people, especially Black people, I'm your girl.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. All right. So this is the absolute last question.
Okay.
It's a doozy. Are you ready? What is one word that affirms who you are?
One word. You know, I'm going to go with blessed.
Yes.
I'm going to go with blessed. And it sounds cliche, but I'm going to tell you,
Tell us.
I have learned, and I've been doing counseling. I have been prioritizing doing counseling in my life. And I think I would recommend that for every Black person that walks the face of the earth. I don't care if you do couples counseling, you need to do individual counseling.
Absolutely. You know, I'm a proponent for therapy.
Yes, listen. I don't care if you feel like, well, I already healed from that. Okay, so extra healed in that case. But I honestly am so blessed. I feel like I am blessed and I'm learning to love myself more than I ever have. I'm learning to choose myself because I've always been a very self-aware person. I've always been in tune with myself since I was a child. I've always been very in tune with myself and very aware of like what's happening in my world psychologically or emotionally and spiritually. I've always been aware, but it didn't always mean that I chose myself.
Right.
And I'm feeling blessed now because one, I can understand now that things that I've gone through in my life that I haven't necessarily presented or like when people say you wear your heart on your sleeve and stuff, like I haven't always presented myself in that type of way, but I have endured a lot of trauma in my life and a lot of pain. And it's not, you know, a lot of times when people think trauma and pain from what they perceived of me, they just think it's, oh, your mom died and now you're having to live with it. But it's not just that, you know, those trauma that I endured before then. And so being able to sit with myself, sit with my story, and choose to be happy, choose to be kind, choose to be compassionate, and choose to be joyful and consider people is something that I'm proud of myself for. Therefore, I believe I'm blessed. And my desire is to be a blessing to whoever chooses for me to be in their life, whoever I choose to be in my life. That's my biggest desire, is to be a blessing to them because I'm learning how to be a blessing to myself.
That's right. Oh, I'm not gonna be a bag of tears today. that just took me there. Like you are all of that. Like in the purest, dopest form, you are light, you are blessed, you are compassionate, you are loving, you are love. And literally you personify all of those things that you desire to be. And that's why we see it, because you are living with it, you are sitting with it, and you desire to be this. So that's who you are. And when I say that I absolutely love what I have had the pleasure of being able to get to know and interact with, like, it's next level. And then to have you bless my girls with being involved with their life, specifically with Kai, because you are her accountability partner.
My girl, oh my God, I love Kai so much.
And to understand Kai, because of course people only know YouTube Kai, they don't really know Kai. But to know who she is, and for you to instantly pick up on her innocence and just her genuine spirit, and to nurture her in such the way that you have, like, it's really, you are everything. I didn't have the pleasure. I moved here, or actually I came to the church shortly after your mom passed.
Right.
And so I didn't get the pleasure of meeting her in person, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I know her because I know you and I know David.
Right.
And I know your father and all of the people that she's impacted in such a dynamic way. I feel like I know her.
Yeah, yeah.
So when I hear you and I look at you, I'm like, I know this mom is like beyond proud of her.
Oh,
Like I know as a mom, I know that
right.
because I'm looking at it, I'm going, there's no way she couldn't be.
Yeah.
So you are your mom's wildest dreams.
Thank you.
You
Thank you.
truly are. So I just thank you. I thank you for honoring us with this time. I thank you for being a dope Black woman. I thank you for just being who you are and walking in authenticity and loving Black people the way you do and riding for us and being willing to march for us and have a voice for us. You are the bomb, sis. So thank you.
Thank you. I want to say something too. I'm grateful that you asked me to do this. I'm truly grateful, and I'm excited to see where this goes and how this progresses. And I just want to say that I affirm you as a woman and as a mother and as a wife. And I thank you for being willing to choose yourself and be an example to your daughters as someone who shares platforms and who affirms other women. And I've seen it with you from the time that we were in each other's lives, like personally, face to face. I could see where your daughters are beautiful, kind, just beautiful, beautiful girls. And I know that they are a reflection of their mother. And so, first of all, great job with mothering those beautiful girls because they are a reflection of their mother. And second of all, kudos to you for being an amazing woman because before you were a wife or a mother or any other thing, you have always been a woman. You've been somebody's daughter and you've ventured through life, ventured through America as a Black woman.
Yes.
And in the South. And so you understand, what it's like to be a Black woman. Like, it's one of those things where Black men can relate to us, but Black women know what it's like to be a Black woman. Only we know.
Only we know and only we understand it.
Yes. So kudos to you. And I love you and I commend you for being a woman who supports and affirms, constantly supporting Black women, Black-owned businesses. I love it. So thank you.
Thank you. I love you more. I do. I'm so grateful for you. So I appreciate you. So we thank you. Y'all go and look up my girl on Spotify, on iTunes, on Google Play, everything. She is on all platforms. Lighkt.
That's me.
Look her up and get blessed with this music.
Yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.